Oh God, it's game time.
Game time.
It's game time.
The neon sign's on.
The neon sign's on.
That means we're recorded.
Hiya guys, welcome to Two Men A Cactus. This is episode 2. In episode 1, we kind of went through a brief introduction about ourselves, kind of briefly about like what previous work we did and stuff like that. And in this episode, we kind of really want to kind of touch on taking something.
Like, we want to talk about when you go from a hobbyist into making a bit of money. And that first time where you're like, oh my God, they paid me.
I know, yeah.
And my first job was 100 quid, I think. 100, 200 quid.
Yeah.
And back then it blew my mind because it was just a hobby. I was just doing it for fun. And it got to a point where my good friend Ben Thomas, he was a photographer. He was a designer, but he did photography. And the Canon 5D, is it?
Yeah.
Mark 1 or 2, I think, started having video on it. And he was like, this is insane. Let's make some stuff, because I was just doing editing. So we just pratted around. He filmed stuff, I edited it. And then he had quite a few contacts in the music industry with his work. And there was a band back in the day called Fennec Solar. I don't think they're still going now, but we did some free content for them. And then they got signed to Warner Music. And Warner Music saw the work that we'd done, and they were like, oh, we'd love you to continue that. So that was at that point, we kind of like got paid for it. And yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot now, but back then it blew my mind that I would be paid for something I was doing for fun.
We had this discussion just while we were kind of talking about what we're going to say in this podcast. And my first job, first kind of paid job, was drone videography, in essence, for a building company. And like it was a couple hundred quid as well, 300 quid or whatever it was. But like at the time, I was like £250 a day within the RAC or thereabouts. And I thought, well, if I can kind of match that, like that'll be like a dream. Do you know what I mean? Like go and do probably no more than 2 hours work, like actual filming work is how that job kind of worked out for me. And then obviously plenty of time doing the edit and stuff like that. But then I thought, oh God, 250. And I went back and forth between me and my partner. And just going, oh, is that too much? Is that because £250? And please do not take it as if like £250 isn't a lot of money, because it is a lot of money. But you're kind of like, is that too much? Is that not enough? Like, how do you gauge it from an unexperienced person, which I was at the time? And I'm like, and then I kind of thought, what? Come on. Just do it. 250 quid. All they can do is say no or whatever. I've never experienced it. I'd never had it was never a case of, God, this has got to work, because it was just a hobby.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, wow, someone does want to ask me how much I'm going to charge. And I was like, yeah, sure. So, I thought, I'm going to just say 250 quid or thereabouts or whatever it was. And then when they came back, they pretty much replied within the space of 10 minutes. I went, yeah, sure. What's
damn, I should have charged more.
But I was so ecstatic to think that, because I'm so used to my other job, someone actually wants to pay me to do something for them, rather than it's a job that you're getting paid to do. Does that make sense? It's like a full-time kind of thing. I just remember my heart going, and I just had a smile on my face. I thought, ooh, this could potentially be something, and it was just mind-blowing.
Just to interrupt, we will go into more detail on pricing and things like that, because I think we'll probably do about 70 episodes on pricing.
Yeah.
But it was a massive, like you say, just insane to think that someone would do that, especially when you've not ever been paid for it. But something I wanted to talk about as well is your perspective, and I'll give mine now, is on how to get to that point, right? How do I get someone to pay me for making videos? I've only just started. There's so many other better people out there, etc., etc. One piece of advice I will give is, it doesn't matter what stage you're at, you will fit into someone's budget. If someone's got 50 quid, there'll be someone for you. If someone's got $2,000, there'll be someone for you. So don't get caught up on I'm new, no one's going to pay me. There are people out there. And the best way to do that, I think, I've been asked this so many times. I give advice out to anybody that asks for it. Hence why we're doing this podcast. And it's kind of like, well, how do I get that work? Whatever, if you've got gear and you've got the ability to either edit or shoot, go do that with passion projects. You know, say you're into cars, go do some car content. You know, so, and another one I say to people is like, have you got any friends that have got businesses? If your friend's got a small independent business, go do something for them. And with everything you do, create some social media accounts on, you know, like business pages on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, and just post everything you make and just keep doing that. Because you want to get to a point where someone goes, oh, I need a video for my business, and they think of you straight away. They think, oh, I saw Gav's like doing some video work.
Exactly that, yeah.
And you get to the point where you're tagged in, you know what you're tagged in so many things, and that's how it starts. So once you get that first paid job, and then you post that, and then it slowly but surely becomes a bit of a snowball effect.
Yeah, definitely.
So like, that's certainly been my experience, at least. What would you, from your own journey, what would you add to that, if there's anything different or additional to talk about?
I would say not to be scared of offering free work. Now, I'm sure you've all kind of heard this multiple times before, or everyone kind of says it, but it really was a big staple of my development when I first started. You know, it's not a case of it's just doing work, but you start having that experience with businesses, you know, like client work, you know, dealing with what they want and stuff like that. But also, from that part is, if you are happy to do stuff, like for me, it was a bit of like barber work. I'd seen some barber videos and stuff, and I was, you know, I had a regular barber, and I just spoke to him and said, oh, do you need any barber work? Like, you know, I'll do it for free. I've just started doing video. I want to
maybe give me a free haircut or two.
Well, yeah, to be fair, I did actually put work into it.
Free trim,
yeah, exactly. And that really worked, because it kind of, rather than doing just the stuff that you do, so that you're dealing with yourself, which is your passion projects, you're dealing with someone else's expectations or what potentially could help them as a business.
You're having the experience of running a business.
Yeah, like, exactly.
It'll be the phone calls before, organising dates, times, all the things that we do. Yeah, you get to experience that by doing the free work as well.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Like you said, everyone says do work for free, and some people say, oh, you should never do work for free. But if you can build a portfolio,
exactly.
And I think the biggest tipping point is you do the free work. You post that work, and then all of a sudden someone comes along and goes, oh, I need a video. How much?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, it's work. So
exactly.
That's when the free work becomes, you know, the paid work.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I just don't be scared of it initially anyway, to do it. It's a case of you're getting out there, you're developing yourself, and you're just progressing and moving forward. You know, you'll do your passion stuff, how you kind of initially get into it, then you'll do some paid work, and then, you know, people then relate to what you're saying is they'll go, oh, Mitch does those videos, or Gav does those videos, or something, and then they can see you've got that portfolio and see that you have done some, in essence, commercial work or whatever, yourself, and you can prove yourself, and that's how you kind of go, you know, I'm the guy that they know of to do paid work.
Yeah, and I think for me, the biggest learning about just doing the work and being in the trenches is like, if you're probably the same, consume so much tutorial content on YouTube and everything else, that was great, but you learn like 10 times quicker when you're out with your camera and you're hitting situations you don't know.
Exactly that, yeah.
I think my early days, I said yes to everything. Like, it was one of my first poop my pant moments is when I got asked to film some motorsport, and I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to shoot that. It was just for some gentlemen's racing in the Lotus Elise Cup, and I said yeah, and I just did that all the time. There'll be jobs that come up, and you're like, I have no idea, but you know what? If you just go out and you do it, you learn on the job. And I grew so much in that year because I said yes to everything, and I felt pretty scared going into most of them, but the client was happy, and it was a massive learning experience for me. Is just saying yes to everything.
Like, I would be like, oh God, what am I going to do?
How am I going to shoot this? How am I going to edit?
But then it stopped at that for me a lot of the time. I was like, oh God, and then I'd panic through it. But you've gone, take this as an opportunity to develop, to learn something new, put yourself under that pressure that you can learn something new, because going back to YouTube stuff, there's so much content out there to learn how to do something. 9 times out of 10, something you've seen on social media or a video or anything like that, you go, wow, that's amazing, I'll never be able to do that. However, there probably is some type of tutorial that's online that you could at least explain 90% of the way or 80% of the way of how that was potentially approached and done. And I think I'm definitely learning more than, like, I've been doing it for 5 years now, but I have definitely learned that in the past since I've gone full time. And from what you've expressed to me is definitely just accept the jobs that are new to you, and take the way of thinking about this is an opportunity to develop, and the more skills you have, the better you'll be as a videographer, I think, or as a businessman, anything, in life.
You'll be more valuable to
definitely.
a wider range of clients.
100%.
And I think another way of really helping you, get more side hustle clients or whatever at that stage is asking for referrals. I think a lot of people miss this, and hands up, I'm not amazing at
Me
it.
too, yeah.
But if you go to that person, they're really buzzing with the job. Yeah, they probably they've got it for 100 quid, 200 quid, whatever. And you say, could you refer me to any other businesses or whatever? And 9 times out of 10, they will have someone that they could at least, get you a contact details for, maybe another business owner that's close to you or whoever. There's a lot of power in that. And also, this may be a discussion for another day as well, but it's important to mention now is, like, how can you further service that one client? Like, not necessarily... A lot of people think they need to find lots of clients, but in my experience, it's how do I service them better?
Yeah.
And I think we'll go into detail more of that. But, ask them, is there anything else that, that they can help them with? Can you link onto that one client and service them better? Is always better than trying to find a new client. So that's something I'd definitely offer, or at least advise to people. Maybe you could go, well, have you got TikTok? Maybe we could shoot some verticals. Like offering the most out of that day for them as well, and just say, okay, we could offer some short form content, micro content, whatever you want to call it these days, and be able to upsell that, and not just give them, okay, they want a promo video. With my clients, I'm always like, well, what platforms are you on? Where else can you share content? Maybe we could pull stuff from that main video. It's not much extra work for you, but also you're giving the client more. And a big tip I always tell people is, like, over deliver, just even if it's 10%. Say they wanted just a video, but you can take a few snaps on the day of an event or whatever it is. If you can over deliver, maybe it's delivering the project earlier than you said, or giving a little bit extra than you've been asked, that will go a long way. And I think that will help you get repeat custom with any client.
And these are just a few nuggets that we feel that could help you kind of going from, like, hobbyist into, like, a side hustle where you start getting paid. But if you keep pushing forwards, keep finding new ways of dealing with situations, and potentially it might go from, like, a side hustle to full time. That's what happened with us, and to be fair, that kind of takes it nicely, because that's what we're going to be discussing in the next episode. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yep.